So if you're thinking about doing a podcast, I highly suggest you use Anchor, and here's why. Now, first things first, it's free, and you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I'm talking dollar bills, y'all. Plus, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to the major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch of others, so that's one less thing you got to worry about. And they got all the tools you need to record and edit your podcast in one spot, and you can do all that from your phone or your computer, so in my opinion, it's really the easiest way to make a podcast. Now, if that's what you're looking for and you're ready to jump on it, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Shoutout, Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Alright, so a few things real quick. One, the October podcast happy hour is up and running. It was on Jay's platform, Jay's Quick 3. So the link to that is in the episode notes. September was Autumn's platform, which is the Lit Life podcast. And the link to the live Facebook and YouTube is in the episode notes. And then if you missed August, you must be a new listener because it was on my platform. So you should go ahead and scroll on up through the episodes, or I even made it easy for you, and the Apple Podcasts and Spotify link is in the episode notes, but I mean, literally just scroll up. So then November is going to be live on Audrey's platform, Odd Tales Podcast. More to come on that as we get a date finalized. That's going to be a live episode, so you'll definitely want to check that out. And without further ado, let me let you go ahead and get off into the episode. All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome back to the show. If you new, I don't know how you found this show, but thank you for checking me out. Make sure you come back next Thursday because new episodes drop every Thursday like clockwork. My day one listeners, man, I got all the love in the world for y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Keep on coming back. If you're not, you should be totally following me on social media. So make sure you check the links in the episode notes for my Twitter and my IG and all that good stuff. But let's go ahead and get started because I'm super excited about this show because it's going to be fun. Y'all know I always talk about the politics of podcasting. So we got Mr. Spence himself.
What up?
He's 1/4 the views from the 7 podcasts. So I'll have all his information in the episode notes. You should definitely check out his show. But let's go ahead and get to it. So how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing all right, man.
You good?
Excited. I'm excited. I appreciate it. You know, the opportunity. I don't do this often.
Oh,
so
wow.
I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking the time because I'm excited about this game that we're going to play because I can tell from your show. I'm like, okay, he'll be down with it because, you know, when we grown, some people, they don't want to do all the fun stuff and they just want to be whatever. But I'm a clown. Yeah, I could tell by y'all little, you know, karaoke or whatever.
Shout out.
You know, whatever y'all be doing.
We kill it every week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, y'all be killing something. All right. It's so funny because sometimes I like really have faith. Like, okay, y'all start off like, all right, this is gonna be the one where the vocals is gonna be right, and but nah, it's good stuff though.
That's some cool shit. I never realized how many songs that I love that I don't know.
Yeah, and sometimes when my daughters will be around, because they like when I listen to other people's podcasts. They don't
Yeah.
listen to me, but they like other people's stuff, and
Yeah.
they'll just happen to, and they be like, "Ooh, like." Man, you know how teenagers are. They ain't got no mercy.
Yeah. Tell her it sounds much better in person.
I can't really vouch for that because I don't know if that's true. So, but all right. So this game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's called Face Off Fear Factor Edition, right?
Okay.
And I got 6. I'm gonna read a list of like scary movie characters. I wanted to do something kind of Halloween themed,
Okay.
since it's October, but of course with my own little spin because that's what I do. So I'm gonna read you 2 pairs of villains and then their powers and abilities, and then you're gonna tell me who would you rather have to fight to stay alive.
Got you. Okay.
And then I got a little bonus after the 6 face off just for a little razzle dazzle to see how you think.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, we're going to start in the hood, right? So we got the Leprechaun in the Hood.
Wow.
Leprechaun. Yeah. Listen, shout out to Kayliana, my daughter, because she kind of started me off like making the pairs, writing the stuff down, and then I started actually went on Google, looked stuff up to make it, So in the Leprechaun in the Hood movies, his powers, because what I learned is it's different in all the movies, it's not the same. So he hypnotizes people to be his slave, which I feel like that's low-key racist that y'all want to have. Y'all want to have him in the hood and talking about some slaves, and then he also brainwashes people with the magical flute. So that's his powers. Yeah,
that movie is responsible for my first gay scene.
Oh, really?
That was the first gay scene I ever seen.
Wow.
Well, it was kind of sort of, but yeah.
All right. So then his face off is Mr. Sims from Tales from the Hood. And the only thing they had for his, the funeral dude. So the only thing they had is that he's a shapeshifter. So so if you was in a scary movie out of them 2, who would you want to face off?
Shit. Nah, we gotta get the Leprechaun the fuck up out of here.
All right.
He nothing about him scares me though.
Okay.
Like, nothing about him scares me. Mr. Sims, he scared the fuck out of me when I was a teenager though. It was something about him, man. I don't know. It was, you kind of knew when they was walking through that the mortuary that something was going on. Something was going on. I still get a little. I don't like his parts at all.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in forever, and even looking up some of this stuff, I don't even really mess with scary movies like that anymore.
Really?
I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I don't because, all right. So the next one, we got Chucky. So his powers are speed, strength. He could do voodoo and immortality. So that's him. And then we got him versus Annabelle. So she is demonically possessed. She has telekinesis, mind control, superhuman speed, and illusions. So who would you want to fight?
I'm whooping Chucky out.
All right.
Off rip. I don't know why. Maybe because he was fighting against white people, but he ain't really. I don't know what he was like. They made him way more than what he, in all actuality, what he was.
Yeah,
so I was like,
it was never a scary movie to me, like
ever. He
just was annoying and numb your horengeki or whatever he said in that one with the little black boy.
You gave him the Tina Turner rant.
Right, man, whatever he said, I don't even remember what he said, obviously, but Annabelle, I've never watched that, but I'm sorry. Demonic Possession, no, I'm not, I'm not.
Yeah, she was the real deal.
And that's what my daughter was telling me. All right, so the next one is La Llorona. So she has invisibility, telekinesis, invulnerability, which I don't even know what that means.
I think that was the nun, right?
I think so. She's hella strong. She has acidic tears also, which is
that's the nun. Okay.
So her versus the Grudge. So superhuman strength, reality warping, curse manipulation, regeneration, shape shifting, and possession. Who you gonna fight against?
Probably the Grudge, because I think the Grudge you have to watch something, right?
Yeah.
For something to happen, you have to. Yeah, so I ain't gonna watch the shit no way. So he ain't even. Yeah, you can't do too much against no demons, but I ain't gonna watch the shit. I throw that shit away.
All right, so then I bet you I know what you're gonna say for the next one. All right, so we got Jason, who's superhuman strength, can breathe underwater, he can regenerate, possess someone to reborn himself, skilled with weapons, or versus Freddy. So he also has superhuman strength. He can warp between the dream world and the real world, manipulation, possession, regeneration, teleportation, and invisibility.
Yeah.
Who you fighting against?
You let me lose some weight, I'll probably fight against Jason. Because I can, you know what I'm saying? I can outrun him and shit.
Right.
Freddy, there's not too much you can do to fight against sleep.
See,
it's that part. All the cocaine in the world, still you're gonna fall asleep at some point.
Yep. And see, Jason was really kind of, for the most part, exclusive to Crystal Lake, which I don't go places like that anyway.
Me neither.
You know what I mean? And you ain't really see too many black people in them movies anyway, because you know what I mean? So we
got a lake out here that I ain't never been to. So.
See, and I don't really mess with that type of stuff like that. All right, so the next one is Candyman, which I'm super sad that didn't come out. I actually was gonna go see that. It was supposed to come back out.
It's still later this year, right? Is it later this year?
It's next year, actually.
Next year, okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I respect him for that, because he wants to make sure we not risking our lives to go see the movie. But anyway, so he's a ghost of a murdered slave who was murdered for his relationship with a white painter's daughter. I never knew that.
Yeah.
You say his name 5 times. He kills people with a hook in his right arm. So that's him. Or Bloody Mary. So you say her name 3 times. She may have been a witch when she was alive, is what it said, and she steals your soul. So it's
shit. I'm gonna have to take my chances with Bloody Mary.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I ain't fighting against nobody that like white women or was a slave. I can't do it.
I can't.
Too much anger there.
But listen.
Too much pent-up frustration for me.
But here's the thing. With Candyman, you got to say his name 5 whole times. So that's 2 more times than Bloody Mary. You only got to say her name 3 times for her to come. You rather go with that than Candyman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to take my chances, man.
All right. So
Candyman
the last
to be fucked with.
He was definitely terrifying. I'll give you that much. But then the last little monster pair, I guess, is Mr. Boogie from Sinister. So he'll kill an entire family to take one child to consume their soul. The image of the deity is a gateway, and if people walk past it, they can be possessed, and it's unknown whether or not it can be killed.
Okay.
So him versus Pennywise It. So not old school It, but Pennywise It. His powers are moves within the sewer, shape shifting, reads minds, teleportation, and he can actually be killed. So which one you gonna fight against?
I can't go against Pennywise. And the only reason I say that is because he puts he kills you by exposing your fears. My fears have fucked me up.
Okay. Yep. All
right.
right.
It's a wrap after that.
Yeah. So this is a little bonus one.
Okay.
All right. This is 2 movie franchises. All right. So the first one is, would you rather be forced to play the gruesome games that the Jigsaw Killer came up with in the Saw movies? Now, for those of y'all who have never seen this movie, the Jigsaw Killer, he's actually one of the dudes in the first movie's cancer patient, which like, bruh, okay. So then he finds some chick and a detective to carry on his legacy because he's dying of cancer. By the 8th movie, though, why is there 8 movies? I really did not. Wild. I did not know that. And then a 9th one is supposed to come out that Chris Rock co-wrote. But by the 8th movie, they
unfortunately.
By the 8th movie, they think he came back from the dead.
Okay.
Okay, so that's his franchise. But then, or would you rather try to survive the Final Destination deaths?
Oh, wait.
So for those of y'all who have never seen these movies, there's like 5 of them that have been made, and all of them have the same theme where somebody has a vision that either a plane is going to explode. That's the first one. Or, people are going to die. So then they quote unquote rescue the people, but then spend the rest of the movie like really trying to escape death. And they all die anyways. Well, not all of them, but basically. And then there's supposed to be a 6th one coming out is what I saw as well. So which would you rather try to survive?
I'm gonna have to go with the Saw. You know what I'm saying? I can still live without an arm and a leg and shit. Once your time is up in them Final Destination joints, it's a wrap.
Man, and the way they die,
that's fucked up.
Man, it would, and it's like you would never see it coming. Like, at least with the Saw dude, something or someone is out to get you. Final Destination, they would think they was cool, get in the elevator, and then they head get chopped off in a way that don't even make sense. Or they riding on the interstate and a log falls out the back of the thing and only gets them and don't get nobody else.
Yeah, they make sure it's all closed caskets.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Ain't no pretty death.
Nah. All right. So one last little bonus.
Okay.
Because I just totally made this up because I don't know. But all right, so we got Get Out and we got Us. Have you seen both of those movies?
Yep.
All right, so for those of y'all who haven't, Get Out is like, long story short, white people are stealing black bodies to try to have the black body but have the white spirit in it. They just this black dude dating this white girl who goes off in the woods. And that's how he finds that out. And they're both by Jordan Peele. That's why I chose this. Or Us is like the tethered people. And it's like we all have someone who's kind of like an alternate not alternate universe, but I don't know.
A mirror to us.
Yeah, there you go. A mirror to us. And we get to live the good life, like, so we get to eat, drink, get presents, and they get like the raggedy version of it, and that's how they live their entire lives. But somehow this girl escapes and breaks the mold and comes out. So which one of those would you choose to try to live through?
I like my chances better with Get Out, only because I don't date white women. So the best way to not be in a situation is to prevent it.
Yeah.
With Us, it was kind of like there was nothing you could do.
Man,
the takeover was real fast.
You remember the part when they go to the carnival or whatever, and the little girl going off being nosy, that's what she get, but she goes and sees the little girl that looks like her for the first time, and they do that like zoom in, crazy music. Man, listen. I went home hours later, and I remember we used to live in this house, and I went downstairs in the middle of the night to like get some water or something. And I go up the stairs, and that popped in my head. And that's why I don't mess with scary movies like that. Yeah. Because it's not what's going on during. Yeah. It's what happens after the fact and the flashbacks and all that stuff.
That's how it was with the Paranormal Activity movie.
Yeah, no.
I didn't sleep for like 2 days after I seen the first one.
I only watched the first one. I didn't watch, because I believe that stuff can like really happen, and some people don't. But I don't.
And a lot of it happened, when they were asleep at your most vulnerable time.
See that part. That's why I don't stay the night at everybody's house. That's why I don't let everybody stay down at my house, because when you sleep, I got kids too, and when you sleep, anything can happen. And so. Well, thank you for playing my game that I totally made up.
I'm a movie dude, so I enjoyed it.
I kind of figured.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, I wanted to do a Halloween-ish theme this month. But still have it be content that's timeless. Yeah. Because I want it to be relevant in June and all that good stuff. So, like I told you, we're going to talk about our fears. Because the thing about fear is you could struggle with it in January, June, on a Tuesday. Like, it don't even matter. And it could be related to so many different crazy things. So let's start off light and not get into the heavy stuff just yet. Okay. So what's something as a child that you were scared of that maybe you're still scared of now, or even something that seems silly like now that you're an adult, and why? Like, why did it make you scared?
Oh, let's see. I'm scared of everything that got more legs than I do, except dogs. Even today, like spiders and shit, I gotta call the kids. I ain't playing no games. Nope. Hey, come down a lot. I'm still not too fond of the dark. Ooh. Now I can sleep in complete darkness. No issue. But just if I'm alert in the dark, I can kind of go a little crazy.
I'm gonna piggyback off that because that's actually one of mine. I sleep in complete darkness as well, but if I'm outside and it's dark, I can walk around and I'm cool because that's a different kind of darkness. Yeah. But if I'm in a house and like I walk past a room and it's dark in the room, I'm not messing with that. Like, I don't sleep with my door open. I don't care if I'm the only one in the house. I sleep with my door closed because I don't want to look out and see the darkness in the hallway. And part of that is because when I was a little kid watching Freddy, this is why I don't mess with scary movies like that. Like, nah, see, you laughing, but this is so real. So I remember I had to be like maybe 8, 9, no, probably like 8. And we was living in this house, and I remember something woke me up, and like how my room was, you know how if the light is outside, you could see the light coming in your room. So if somebody's outside your window, you're going to see a silhouette of that person because of the light. Now, this was a 2-story home, so there really should have been nobody outside my window because my window was on the 2nd story of the house. Yeah. I don't know if this was a dream, but if it was real, and I don't care because I'll never forget that I woke up, I heard a scream in the distance, like some woman screaming. And I grew up military, so we lived on base, so there really shouldn't have been nobody like, you know what I'm saying, screaming in the middle of the night. But I remember waking up and looking at my window and seeing the silhouette of Freddy. Was it real? Was it a dream? We'll never know. But ever since then, I don't mess with the dark like that. And scary movies, like you remember 13 Ghosts? Yep. See, I watched it, but because my ex would have me watching all this stuff, but Nah, I don't just voluntarily do stuff like that.
Yeah, you grew up on a military base, man. When I go on base out here, man, everybody looks so sad and miserable.
I mean, probably now. But I mean, I was a kid, so
yeah,
we grew up military, but it is a different lifestyle because you have to be like very disciplined, and then it's like we moved around a lot. So
yeah, okay, I get you.
So I think that's probably why it's kind of easy for me to just have seasonal friends and transition on, because I'm just kind of used to moving on. I don't really have any like, oh, you've been my friend since kindergarten. No, I don't even know them people anymore. So it's definitely a different type of lifestyle for sure. Any other silly childhood fears?
No, except and then yeah, man, Candyman and Bloody Mary, I ain't never fuck with.
Yeah, I
don't ever say it. That was it.
You know what's crazy is when I used to do dumb stuff as a kid. Now when I say this stuff out
trust
loud,
me, I understand.
But I had to be 12, 11, something like that. It was either 5th or 6th grade. And I remember going to my friend's house and us messing with a Ouija board. And I would never.
Y'all going into white folks' problems now.
Actually, I think they might have been white. Yep.
Oh, see? Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, like, and it actually moved. So,
hell no.
Like, yeah, I don't mess with stuff like that. Clowns, and here's why I have not clowns that are like regular normal clowns, like clowns that are supposed to be scary. I don't mess with, because when I was like a teenager, we went to a haunted house. The one and only time I went to a haunted house. Now, how it was set up is you start out outside, you go through like the little graveyard. I know they can't touch me, so I'm like being childish, like, aha, you can't touch me, this, that, and the other. Might have been high, but you know, whatever stuff you do when you're a teenager. And so it was me, it was the dude I was dating, my younger brother, and my homegirl. And I don't know why they had me in front, even the dude I was dating. I don't know why they had me in the front of the line. So we all outside, I'm being childish and this, that, and the other. We go back in this part where you going in, and it's like this room, right?
Yeah.
So it's the black and white strobe lights going. The floor and the ceiling and the walls is like black and white checkers, and then the floor is kind of like uneven. So we walk in, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, and all of a sudden it's a clown at the end of the hallway that comes running at us. I'm in the front, so I start backing up, and we fell all on the ground, and that's why I don't really mess with clowns like that.
Yeah, there's what is that? Six Flags out in California.
Okay.
During Halloween, no joke.
Nope.
No joke. I thought my kids was gonna have a heart attack, man. It's no joke. Oh, you know what else I was really, really scared of when I was a kid? You remember when they used to have like the homegrown carnivals? And they used to have the one where you used to walk in, there's mirrors everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So you have to kind of like guide your way out of there.
Yep.
Man, I used to hit the mirrors and shit. That shit scared the shit out of me.
I would
always get crazy anxiety because I felt like I was stuck.
See, I've never been in them, but when I see them that was on Us too. The mirror. See, that's what I'm talking about.
But I used to hit them. You run into them and shit.
I don't mess with that. Heights. I've always kind of been scared of heights. Like, not in a controlled environment. Like, I've gotten on roller coasters, but like, I'm not going to nobody's balcony hotel and looking over the balcony. I'm not
a big heights dude either.
Yeah, I'm not about to be walking on nobody's bridge. Like, you know how you see sometimes people walking on the bridges. Well, where I live, they got them like that go over the highway and stuff. Yeah. I'm not messing with that either.
Where you at?
Nebraska.
What the hell is in Nebraska except horses and grass?
See, this is what we not about to do. So I wasn't born here. Like I told you, sir, my parents were military, so there's a military base here, and then I've been here since I was 10, so I pretty much was raised here. But there are plenty of us in Nebraska. Like, so we out here.
Do the police like come to your house like on horses and shit?
Bruh, shut up, dude. Like, no, it's a regular city, just like, we got the hood, we got all that.
Really? In Nebraska?
Wow. Yes. Now, it is very segregated, though. So it's kind of like North Omaha, which is like, I don't live in Omaha, but I live really close to it. So North Omaha is predominantly black. West Omaha is predominantly white. South Omaha is predominantly Hispanic.
Yeah.
And then they got East Omaha, which is probably more predominantly white, but it's close enough to North Omaha.
Wow.
And it's like visibly, like, you can tell what area of town you in. So, but I live closer to the military base, so it's more like diverse and as far as, like I said, military is a different lifestyle. So usually people are used to being around different cultures.
Yeah, man. Well, shout out to you, because you're the first person I've ever talked to that's from Nebraska.
That's funny.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
When I think of Nebraska, it's like Walker Texas Ranger type shit.
That is nothing like what it is. Man, that should be Texas before it should be, which Jay probably be mad because she's in Texas. Shout out to Jay, Chris, Audrey, Autumn. Got to shout them out now.
Shout out.
Yeah, but the Cornhuskers. I know you heard of the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I have never.
Football. Wow. Do you watch college football?
I do not.
Okay.
It's too many teams.
All right. Well, that's usually what we known for, is the Cornhuskers, if anybody's heard of us.
That's a wild nickname too.
Yeah, well, that's what people usually think is all we got is cornfields. I've never heard horses. Cornfields, yeah. Sir. All right, so what are some of the fears you struggle with now?
Ooh, shit. Because we talk about as we get older and we start diving into life a little bit. So the fear I have now, especially with me like building up this quote unquote legacy, is like the fear of like being forgotten or being replaced. And it's, a lot of people be like, well, in order to conquer your fear, you have to face it. But it's a fear that you don't face it, because I don't know what's going to happen to this legacy that I'm supposed to be building until it's over.
Right.
So it's nothing that I get to see coming to fruition. And it bugs me out a lot because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Especially now when I'm in the podcast and I'm getting to a space where I'm starting to express myself a little bit, and I'm starting to, dive into who I am and why I am. And then to see it all, like, not even to be able to see it all, but the thought of it just all going to shits, it's pretty scary. Damn scary.
It's crazy because, for one, podcasting, especially like your show, because y'all have fun and all that stuff, but y'all talk about serious issues that you're going through.
Yeah.
And on my show, I pretty much just talk about my life. So what I've noticed since podcasting is it makes you reflect way more than I probably like. I've always been a reflective person, but because I'm constantly talking about what I'm thinking, constantly talking about what I'm going through and stuff, I feel like, one, it makes me think about legacy and all that stuff more, which is why I'm hella intentional about what my show is about each week. But then also it makes me, like, one of my fears is that I'm going to like run out of stuff to talk about, because, which is crazy because that's not even how my mind works. Like, for example, I recorded an episode 2 days ago, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and they're all completely different topics. So clearly my mind isn't that, I don't want to say simple, but it's a lot more all over the place than that. But that's kind of been one of my fears, is like, especially now that I'm actually gaining some traction, coming up on a year, and I've never really been consistent with anything before. And I've talked about that on here, where I like to just be a free spirit and
Absolutely.
go, you know, and this is something that I really enjoy. And sometimes I'll be like, man, what if I lose inspiration? Because I'm not going to fake it. Like, I can't give y'all, I don't want to keep coming back and get to the point of, well, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about, and keep giving y'all episodes like that, because then I'll just stop. So that's
I think there's nothing wrong with losing inspiration. We all do. I think the issue is a lot of people tend to stay in that space. So if you're not self-motivated, that could be something that could it could be pretty damaging.
Yeah.
Because you're in this space that you can't get out of. But as long as you keep living, I mean, you'll never run out of stuff to talk about. You keep living, you keep experiencing. Yeah. Hey, you may go back and listen to, one of your episodes, or somebody may bring up one of your older episodes that you did when you first started, and your thought process may be totally different. You know what I mean? That's still content, especially how, you building yours out kind of like a diary. So yeah, I mean, you all right. You good.
And then another random fear is like, okay, this isn't random, but it's twofold. One is that I will die like soon. Like, I mean, my kids are only 16. Well, she'll be 17. My youngest will be 17 on Halloween. So practically 17. 18.
Really, how old is your youngest one turning?
She'll be 17.
Wow, my son turns 15 on Halloween.
On Halloween? Okay.
On Halloween, yeah.
Shout out to them, Halloween babies. But yeah, so they're not old enough to, I mean, my son he'll be 21 next month, but still, he still lives with his dad. But see, at least he has his dad.
Yeah.
Like, to think about my daughters, me leaving and them having to experience that type of loss again. Yeah. That's a huge fear of mine. But then also twofold is when I die, kind of like what you were talking about with the legacy. It's like, will anybody even care? Not like, I know people care about me, but it's like, is the impact that I'm making in this world right now so much so that, like, you think about how Kobe died, and you think about how Chadwick Boseman died, and there's been plenty of others, but those are the ones this year that when you hear about their lives after the fact and the legacy that they've left behind and the stuff they were doing off the court and off the screens, that's why so many people care about them being gone. And plus, then with Chadwick Boseman, like, the type of roles that he chose, he was hella intentional about the things tied to his legacy. So, like, when I go, are people gonna be, podcasters too? Because I remember one time being on I was talking to, like, I think Autumn and Jay for sure. Okay. And I'm like, it's crazy because if I was to die, like, how would y'all even know? And now I talk to them every day. Like, the 5 of us got a group chat. Every day we in that group chat. So, like, if I'm not in there, are y'all gonna think like, well, damn, where's she at? And then at the same time, who would they contact? Because these are friendships I've built, but, like, they don't know my family. They don't, you know what I'm saying? My kids, I don't know that they would think to hop on my Twitter and be like, oh, sorry to all my mom's podcast friends, but so I'd be thinking about that. Like,
I think with especially with you and I, we had a conversation, not a conversation, but it was a couple brief little statements. And I think when you experience the things that we've kind of been through, you look at death and mortality in a different way. Yeah. So while others look at it as if it's something that's coming, like, it's a difference between it's coming and you just like, it is what it is, versus, no, I've experienced this and it can show up at your door at any moment. So you start living a little differently and you look at death a little differently. So the average person wouldn't think the way you think. Like, if I pass away, what would these ladies in this group chat think?
Yeah.
Or I try to do everything with like a purpose now. I try not to. I'm very, very outspoken about doing shit I just don't care about at this point, because I know life is pretty fucking fragile, and you want to do everything with intention. So now, that's kind of like why, a lot of the reason I move how I move. A lot of people, I get accused of having terrible communication, but like you, I'm a free spirit. Like, I move how I move. When I think something or I want to do something, I do it right then and there. And shit, you might not know about it. Yeah. And it may be bad communication to you, but to me, that's just, I do it. I do it because I want to fucking do it.
But it's funny because people will ask me, like, why didn't you, like I got a car around my birthday, and I'm not really, only time I really post about what I get is if someone got something for me that really made me feel like, dang, this person really loves or cares about me, and they just did it. Or it's usually that type of stuff. Like, if I buy something or stuff I do, I don't really brag about that stuff because it's like, I did it, so I did it. But I remember I went to somebody's house and she's like, why didn't you tell us you got a different car? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
exactly.
Or people be like, oh, why didn't you tell me you wanted to start a podcast? I didn't know I needed to tell you. Like, I just do stuff. Or, I'll tell my kids stuff if it affects them. Like, but that's different because it's kind of like they're a part of my world and my like, I have authority over them, and the decisions I make actually affects their lives. Yeah. But other than that, I might not tell my mom. You know what I mean? I might, before like when my kids were younger, I remember we like up and moved out of town, and it was just like nothing. Now we came back because it was some bull. But
well, up and leaving Nebraska, I kind of understand.
Man, whatever, dude. We ain't all fortunate enough to be in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't all get to live that life.
Hey, man, people come out here thinking you're going to live that life. Shit get all bad for you real fast.
No, I think I remember an episode where y'all was talking about, or maybe you were talking on Baylor's show, something, but you were just talking about the different parts of Vegas and how people think it's just the strip and all this stuff. And it really be some other stuff.
Perception versus reality, for real.
Have you lived there your whole life?
Born and raised.
Wow, that's crazy.
Homegrown.
See, it's like you don't think of Vegas being like that.
And there are a bunch of hotels that I have never stepped a foot in.
Oh, really?
We just don't. Locals don't mess with the strip like that. That's for tourists.
Yeah. That's how New York. Like, a lot of my family lives like in New York, in New Jersey. Like, my mom is from the Bronx, and my grandma, she lives in New Jersey still, and got family in Harlem and all them places. And when we go, because we're not from there, like, I want to go see. I don't want to go to Manhattan and all that stuff. And I want to go to the hood, not like that, but like,
be careful what you wish for. Trust me.
So that's why let me back that up. I want to go where regular people are. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to.
When I went to New Orleans with a bunch of the homies, right? And like for the first couple of days, I'm like annoyed. I'm like, man, I'm in New Orleans. Why am I seeing white people? Right? So I said, man, fuck, well, we gotta go to the hood. When I tell you, I've seen hood. The shit I've seen out there was some other shit.
Like, I can only imagine.
Take me back where the white folks at, please. That was some other shit. Like, I was like, oh, this right here, this some shit, right? Yeah, I can have all this.
Yeah, like, I'm even cool. My dad, he lives in Atlanta, and like when we go there, I don't really want to go to I mean, the aquarium is dope. We tried to go to the Trap Museum when we went last year, but the line was ridiculous and it was hot and it's just not that serious. We went to the Martin Luther King Jr. Museum. So it's like, yeah, I like to do stuff like that, but at the same time, can we just go to the bowling alley where I know it's a bunch of us? Because you know, it's like there's just certain things that, okay, yeah, by living in Nebraska, you're not gonna get certain things because
clearly
there are. Shut up, dude. Because even though there's, like I said, North Omaha is predominantly black, it's still in a predominantly white city. You know what I mean? So it's like when you go somewhere like Atlanta, and like me and Autumn and then we're talking about this one day where it's like you go into an establishment and all the staff are black in all roles. I like stuff like that because I think it's just sometimes you get into these things where, especially here in different type of companies and stuff like that. And I ain't about to slander nobody, so I'm just not even gonna say no names, but you get into companies where, you know, black staff can do these certain jobs. When it comes to like upper management and all that, you don't see that. When it comes to leadership, you don't see us reflected in that. So then when you go somewhere Atlanta, you can't help but have that because it's predominantly black. I like to call it Chocolate City. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I like to see fun touristy things, but not really. I don't want to feel like a tourist.
Yeah, see, out here is weird. You know, even though, you know, I'm born and raised. The way I was raised up, looking at Vegas is different from like my parents and my grandparents. See, what you would call the black, it's called the historic West Side out here. But, you know, with politics and you know, Las Vegas was very segregated for a very long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, once we had the historic West Side, it was called the Black Strip. So all of the black musicians, you know, Sammy Davis Jr., all of those, they would perform on the Strip, but they would actually live on the West Side or reside on the West Side. So we had a big casino out here. It's called the Moulin Rouge. It only lasted for maybe a couple months. You know, the police department was extremely racist. So they were doing a lot of things to get it shut down. And as, you know, time went on, you know, people were trying to build it. And then all of a sudden these fires, I'm putting quotation marks.
Yeah,
these fires would keep happening until it's no more. So we had the Moulin Rouge, you had the historic West Side Las Vegas. It was called the Black Strip. And when the politics got to paying attention to this spot is starting to get a lot of attention, that's when desegregation happened. That's when all of a sudden black people can go on the Strip. So once that happened, the West Side kind of went to shits. And then I want to say during the assassinations of Martin Luther King, and then there was again with Rodney King. There were riots down there.
Oh, they went as far as Vegas with the riots?
Yeah, it was riots down there, and it hasn't been the same since. Like if you see it now, it's like a ghost town, literally.
Because Rodney King was what, 92, right?
Yep.
Because I was alive then. I was like 12, so I remember seeing that on TV, but I didn't realize that. I guess at that age I didn't, and then we didn't have social media, so you're not gonna know what's going on necessarily in every state and city and whatnot.
Yeah, so now everybody's buying it up. Like a bunch of out of towners are buying it up. Yeah, man, it's just all bad right now. You know, it's all bad right now.
Man, that was a good bunny trail. Man, other fears, I guess we'll go back to that. Public speaking, believe it or not. And it's crazy because even now, and it's crazy because when I used to do spoken word and I would be asked to perform.
Word?
Yeah. And I would say yes, but I would be terrified every time. Even now with us doing all these Zoom calls and all that stuff, like at work, we have to do video calls at least twice a week statewide. Okay. And
you still working from home?
Yeah. Okay. And so a lot of times I won't speak on the Zoom calls with all the people because it's like 100 and some people just looking all in your face. And I even remember when I first got into the podcast community, I think it was Autumn invited me to somebody's, it was like a Zoom thing, kind of like when Rona first started.
Okay.
And I didn't go because I'm like, it's going to be all these people that I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, even like, it's something about when the attention is on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that the people, I'm over it now really with the Zoom, but not when we have the statewide calls. I'll be like, I don't know if I want to talk. And
I mean, I feel you. Trust me, I feel you. Look, it's almost gone. You feel me? But you know, I still to this day, man, before every episode, I'm nervous.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've been like talking to podcasters about that who've been doing that this longer than me. Cause
you right behind me. It'll be 3 years in February. I ain't been doing this that long.
Man, I ain't even hit a year yet. I ain't right behind you.
Oh, you good? You good, man.
Yeah, like it'll be a year November 12th.
Okay.
And some episodes, like this one, I can't really say I was nervous because there was going to be a game and I knew it was going to be fun and all this stuff. Yeah. But just recently, which it'll have already aired by the time this airs, but Baylor, Mike and I did Mike from Off the Record.
Mm-hmm.
We did a grief journal episode. Yeah, like, and it took me forever to hit record, and we were all nervous though. We were all kind of like laughing and trying to whatever, and then I kept saying, okay, I'm about to hit record, and then I wouldn't. So it just depends kind of like what it is. And then the first time we did the podcast happy hour, I was nervous with that.
Yeah.
The first time I went live on, I think it was Autumn's platform, I was nervous with that. Yeah, I just knew things. I'll do it, but I'd be scared as hell. Nobody could tell, but like inside, I'd be like about to have a panic attack. And then like once you get into it though, then it's kind of like, you know, it is what it is.
I mean, I feel like there's what do you want to call it? A moment of vulnerability. I do feel like every time I hit that record button, or not even just podcasting, but life in general, I've always felt like I had to. What's the word? What the fuck is the word? Not accomplish, but deliver.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people leaning on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings a lot more anxiety and worrying than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
So I always operate that way. Always. That Dante has to deliver. There can't be a moment of downtime for him. And it's kind of, it's stressful.
So when you say deliver, like deliver a certain kind of way, or just like, because I'm just thinking in regards to y'all show specifically.
Yeah.
Y'all have vulnerable conversation, but y'all also are entertaining. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different facets to one show.
Yep.
So what do you mean by deliver?
Like I have to leave people satisfied.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Almost like there are, I don't want to call myself a perfectionist, but I do know when things are at a lower level than I like. But a lot of the times people confuse me being like kind of stressed out rather than, so people like to I'm even though I'm pretty stressed out, people like to say, oh, he's a perfectionist, when no, I just there's pressure on me that I feel like I have to deliver. A lot of people count on me in real life. So even though I'm the youngest, like, you know, in my family overall, even though I'm the youngest, I'm kind of like the role model of my parents too.
Okay.
So there's this need, maybe even a want at this point in time in my life, where I have to deliver to keep people satisfied. I have to be there for people in any way that can be.
See, it's interesting because I always choose, and I've been kind of talking about this more in the conversation I have with my guests.
Yeah.
I choose my guests very intentionally.
Okay.
And then I don't necessarily know why. Like, if you remember, like with you, I'm like, you heard the episode because Baylor asked, like, whatever, who would I want to work with, or whatever he said. And you like, okay, I'm ready whenever. I'm like, okay, cool. And I didn't know what I want to talk about. So then I waited because I'm like, well, what the hell are we going to talk about? Like, I know based on the brief conversations we've had on Twitter and then listening to your show, like I knew these like for me, this is a conversation that I know I'm gonna get something out of it, and that's how I schedule my guests. And then if the listeners get something, cool, but it ain't even really about them
at all.
It ain't.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because it's always more than what I think it's gonna be. And kind of like what you're talking about right now is something that I've been wrestling with relationships, like always feeling like I gotta be the one to be there for everybody. So probably in a different way than what you're talking about, but still feeling like I gotta be there for people and feeling like if I let people down, like I probably care about that more than
you take it harder than they do.
But then the crazy thing is, it's not because these people are really there for me like that. It's just I feel like if somebody needs me, I'm supposed to be there. But the reality is I'm only obligated to my kids. Like I'm not really obligated to anybody else because everybody else is grown. But if I care about you, then I notice I'll overextend myself, and I've like more recently had to stop doing that and stop having that like fear of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I don't want to say fear of man, but kind of like fear of what people think, fear of people thinking like I don't care or whatever. And even like when I used to do, like when I have guests talking about pressure, there is this pressure, like, yes, it's a conversation, but you don't know how it's going to go. So like as the host, there's this pressure to keep the conversation going, make sure it's not like awkward and whatever. That's also why I choose my guests based on, I know they're going to talk. You know what I mean? Like, I know we already have rapport. So it won't be an awkward conversation, but I would just kind of like not do the whole how you doing thing. And it's not that I don't care. It's like my mind is so task oriented sometimes that it's like, okay, I know I got to get this done. I know like I got to honor this person's time, because especially for, you know, you got all whatever going on today with.
Oh no, I'm straight, man. I got all out the way.
Okay. All right. So, but still, regardless though, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's always this pressure, and I've realized sometimes that pressure makes me so task focused that I will almost forget about, but really this is just a conversation. Like, I don't have to perform. I don't have to do all this other stuff. Whoever listens, they should be used to me just talking about my life and talking about whatever. And but it's like that fear of failure is a huge thing too. Like I always, and like it's funny because Chris and Autumn and them laugh at me because if we're talking a recipe, they'll say, oh, a little of this, a little of that. And I'm like, listen, don't be expecting the ancestors. Like, give me a starting point with some measurements.
Yeah.
And they laugh at me, but the reality is there's that fear of failure. Like, I don't want to make something and my kids don't want to eat it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I don't want to make something and it's nasty. Now, I could tweak it later on to my own taste, like, but I needed a 1/4 cup this. Yeah. All right, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like
it's the details.
Yeah.
It's the details.
Yep.
So when I was doing a shout out to Chris, me and her do the Insecure review together.
Yep.
And she was like, damn, like all the things that no one would pay attention to are the things you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, man, it's the details matter the most.
Mm-hmm.
All the other stuff, I ain't gonna lie, I don't really too much care about. It's the details, the things that go behind it. But I mean, it's a calling. Everybody can't. That's why you kind of have to pick and choose who you dialogue with.
Mm-hmm.
What can I get out of you
that
I can apply to my life? I'm not here to dialogue with you to put myself in a position where I got to prove something to you.
Right.
I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, like that's real. And that's how I look at outside of podcasting, just the type of relationships I have. Like, I'm not really big on small talk. I'm really big on let's talk about real stuff. Like, okay, how you doing is cool as a start. But when you get into them text message conversations where it's, oh, what you doing? How was your day? And that's all you talk about. Nah, I can't. Like, and if I gotta force conversations, I can't do that. You know what I mean?
I'm a very very short texter, but that's because I'm always on the move.
Mm-hmm.
But in real life, I'm very, very quiet. And the reason I am quiet is because I'm very observant.
Mm-hmm.
And I pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I do decide to speak out, then it's like, oh, damn. Like, people try to make it seem like I'm in my feelings or something. And it's like, no, I think it's fucked up that society, we have to be loud in order for us to get our point across. Makes us think or feel like we have to be loud in order to have something to say. When in reality, there's nothing wrong with silence at times. I've become a huge proponent on damage control, and in real life, I'm a huge proponent of if you don't have nothing to say, don't say it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. We could talk, but right now I'm internalizing what's going on in my area, and I don't have nothing to say right now, and that's okay.
I think too, so many people talk just to be heard.
Yeah.
And don't have nothing to say. And I see that a lot on social media where people they feel like their opinion has to be heard about every little thing. And it's like, does that even really matter? And sometimes what you saying don't even make sense. Do you really stand on that? Like, is that for real? Or are you just saying some stuff because you want to be seen? And so I feel like I'm quiet, but I'm not. It just depends. It's like when I first, like, I pay attention to my environment so I can kind of see, like, even in the podcast world, I see a lot and I'm cool with everybody, you know what I'm saying? Just because I like people, but I don't talk to everybody like that. Like, I'll retweet anybody's stuff for the most part, or I'll have a little quick, small, small talk or reply to a tweet or whatever. So it's like I can do it, But does that mean I'm really talking to you? No, it just means we exchanged words. Yeah. But if I didn't get anything from it and you didn't get anything from it, and all it is laughs and jokes, like that's cool too. But then you get into the people that I really talk to. And even still, I might not speak on everything. Like I see a lot, but I don't say a lot because I have to factor in, one, is it even worth it for me to say something? Two, are you going to receive it? You know what I mean? Because like I have people that'll like vent to me about stuff and I maybe could listen, you know, for a little while or a couple times, but I'm also a huge empath. So if you come to me and you're hurting, I'm going to feel that. And I didn't realize that about myself until recently, because sometimes you don't have the language to describe what it is. So all I knew is I would feel a certain way, like if somebody died and it was like somebody else's family member that I don't know, but I'm talking to them and they're in deep pain, I would feel deep pain. And I never understood, like, well, I don't even know that person. So like, you know, but so there's that. So I don't like to waste my words. So if I know you're not going to listen, then I'm not going to say anything. And I recently had a conversation with, I guess I won't say who, because I don't know if they want this out there like that, but I had a conversation with someone and it was about like their relationship, and they kept coming to me about stuff, and I would listen and I would listen and I would listen and I would try to advise, and they didn't really, you know, want to hear what I was talking about. They just wanted somebody to talk to. Yeah. And then finally one day I told them, like, hey man, like it's hard to listen to this because I love you and I care about you. And I didn't like go off on them. Yeah. But I went off, like they kind of cut me off. I was like, no, I need you to listen to me this time, because this is the pattern that I've seen. And this is what it does to me. So I need you to understand that I can't keep, like, we can't do this like this, you know what I mean? And especially if I give you advice, because you don't want to see people get hurt. So if I give you advice and you don't want to take it, and I know you're not going to take it, then I'm not going to say nothing. Yeah. But then if you ask my advice and then you don't do it, and then you have the same old bull, I can't do it.
Yeah, some people, you know, in my real life, and I like to kind of like distinguish the two.
See, between my real
life, and because, you know, on social media and stuff, I'm known for my opinions, my very strong opinions, but for the most part, they're really surface. Like I'll talk about like music and sports, and very rare do I get into like real life shit. But in my real life, family included, I don't pick up the phone. And why I say that is because, like, I'm a victim of like the strong friend shit. So sometimes, you know, people take it very wrong, where you just be like, look, man, check this out. Today, I'm not strong enough to take on your shit and mine. So today, I don't want to hear this shit. I can't deal with it. And people take that the wrong way. Like, I don't want to feel as someone's friend. I don't want to feel obligated to take on your negative energy every day. Because in reality, even our friends and family, in reality, some people do not know how to operate within the means of having a good day. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to ask motherfuckers like, damn, man, when was the last time you had a good day? You know? So now, to protect my peace, as they call it, I don't even answer the phone. Because it keeps me in a good space. You know what I mean? Like I had to trip out on someone close to me not too long ago. Like, I ain't seen you, I ain't heard from you all day. And then when I do speak to you, we ain't even get to the, hey, how you doing? How was your days? All of that. You telling me about some bullshit.
Ooh.
I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear. I've had an amazing day. I don't want to take on that shit. You keep it. You know? And there's a fallout.
This is so good because this is so where I'm at right now and like protecting my peace. Like I recently just realized how hard you got to protect it. Like you have to work to protect it because when you make it up in your mind that you want to have certain energy, certain vibes, whatever words people want to use to describe it, it's like I feel like then the world starts working against you where all of a sudden everybody needs you. Everybody sometimes even my kids where I gotta be like, whoa, like I love you, but just because I'm your mom doesn't mean I'm not human or I don't have feelings or I don't need my own time to myself. And I've recently gotten into, and it's funny because I keep having this conversation with people, and so I feel like the Lord is just trying to remind me, like, because this whole putting my phone on do not disturb thing, that's new. Like the first time I ever did that, when I tell you, listen, and people had FaceTime me, people had called me. My kids and my mom are on bypass. So if it's an emergency, they could get through. But my kids were with me. My son was working. He don't really like days he works and all that. And plus he's 20, about to be 21. So sometimes I'll FaceTime him. He'll be like, I ain't at home. Okay, so like what that mean? But you know, I get it. You grown. You don't always want to be up in your mom's face. But the first time I ever literally just put my phone on do not disturb, left it in my room, and I love that it won't interrupt my Apple Watch. So like nobody could get a hold of me, and I just hung out with my kids and we ate and we watched movies and talked, and like the rest of the world didn't even matter. And then it's like I was refreshed and all that good stuff. So then the next day when you hop on Twitter, because I didn't even get on Twitter. You hop on Twitter, you hop on sometimes Facebook, you know, whatever. It's like then I can, well, because see, here's the thing. On Twitter, I only have 3 or 4 people, maybe 5, are my Twitter friends that I knew prior to podcasting.
Oh, okay.
Practically everyone on Twitter is a podcaster or some sort of content creator because I wasn't really on Twitter like that before I started podcasting. Instagram is a mix, but it's a different platform. You just really post pictures and go on with your day.
I'm not a picture nigga, so
see, I am. But then Facebook is like people I actually know, like a lot of my family and stuff. So that's literally the only, but a lot of times I get on it and I'm like, ugh, like, why are y'all like this? And so then I just go, I don't scroll much, especially right now during, oh my gosh, since the pandemic and the election season and just everything that's been going on the last 6 months. But it's like that detaching from the world has become very much more important to me. Or even just sometimes when my phone goes off, notifications on my phone used to drive me crazy where I would feel like I gotta answer it right away because I just don't like having notifications. Now I'm realizing if I go to the group chat and it's 100 and some messages, I'm just not gonna know what y'all talked about because I'm not about to scroll through them 100 and some messages, and we all do that. Because, you know what I mean? But protecting my peace has been something that it keeps getting like we weren't even supposed to talk about this, but obviously this is what I need to be reminded of because like I care so much about people and you hate to see people go through stuff, but I internalize that negativity. And I do have friends that I don't really talk to anymore because all we could ever talk about was struggles. And especially like after the girl's dad was killed, of course, yes, that's like, that's hell and that's heavy and that's whatever. but I want to also be able to enjoy life. And I don't want to feel guilty when I'm like podcasting makes me happy and everything I do with it. And when people give me feedback, not because like I don't care about followers, I care about the people who got something from an episode that, like when I get DMs and stuff and people are like, I related to that, or like I love that, because then that lets me know I'm not the only one out there, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only one going through whatever.
Yeah.
But
that's why. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was saying there's a quote out there that says, if you can't be used, you're useless, but don't let people use you. And that's kind of how I operate on. Like, again, sometimes we get into these friendships where it's almost like I have to give up my soul to be your friend. I'm not obligated to fill this empty void you have as your friend. I just want to be your fucking friend. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
As far as, like I said, I'm cool with Twitter because I can just get my opinion off and go on about my, I can go on about my day. I think with Facebook, I think the issue is so many people on Facebook I know, family, friends, people I'm personal with. So
that part,
an agreement can oftentimes turn personal. A disagreement can oftentimes turn personal, and I ain't doing none of that. That's
Twitter's just an app. Twitter's just an app to me, and I say things the way I say on there on purpose, like on this app, because I need some of y'all to remember this is just an app. Like this, you don't know, like, and when you hear about even like podcasters beefing, like, you don't know these people. Like,
that's just so corny.
How the hell are you beefing with somebody you met on an app? 9 times out of 10, you did not meet this person in real life. And even if you did, you only know them because of podcasting. Like, if I never started a podcast, I wouldn't know none of y'all. Now, don't get me wrong. The people that I have genuine conversation with and are authentic people, I appreciate all y'all. And y'all know who y'all are because I tell you I appreciate this about you. Or my listeners know who you are. Like, my listeners know who Spence is because I've talked about the things you've told me that has helped me in this industry on my show. But outside of that, if I stop podcasting, I may never talk to some of y'all again. And it just is what it is. So it's like, how I'm a trip off an app. So Twitter is just Twitter. It's entertainment and whatever. But
don't get me wrong. Like, social media as a whole, there's a lot of people on social media, but at the same time, everybody's on social media. Everybody's not on social media. So in reality, social media can be like a bubble. And people really struggle with hearing different forms of opinion. But as far as, man, this podcast shit, man, it's just, it wasn't until I got into this space where I really started to realize, and shout out to Baylor, I really started to realize, like, motherfuckers really just don't have friends out here. Like, all their friends have ats in front of their name. Like, y'all ain't got no real life friends out here. The way y'all operate is just, it's like, I don't know, man, weirdos. I don't. If I'm your friend, man, all my resources become yours. But other than that, you just a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Good day, nigga.
Right. It's been a weird adjustment for me, but I feel like I've quickly learned how to navigate this world because in the beginning, I'm not a fan of structures and systems that I feel like are faulty within an organization, within a workplace, within anything. So when I start seeing things within the podcast world, I like to call it out. Like when I recently just talked about how people will, when I'm promoting my episode, because you see I have a lot of followers, you gonna hop on and promote your stuff. Like, that's disrespect. Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? So I see people do that, and I remember one person, this has happened twice, where one person, I was actually retweeting Penrose's episode.
Okay.
And they hopped on and they're like, oh, I'm about to listen to this because I just did an episode. And I was like, hey man, like, because it just really pisses me off. It's so disrespectful. It's so lazy. And it's like, but I was not disrespectful. You know, I try to educate and whatever, because you might not know. So I'm like, hey, this isn't the best move to do this. If you at me in a tweet or if you tag me, I will retweet it because I do it for everybody. But like, I'm trying to promote my homie's episode right now.
Yeah.
And they blocked me.
Wow.
And I'm like, and how I found out is because of how people follow you and then unfollow you and that whole bull.
Yeah.
I got the unfollow app. So like if you unfollow me, I'm gonna get a notification and then I'm gonna
shit.
Yeah,
really?
and then I'm gonna unfollow you. And that's why I don't complain about it anymore, because I had to realize that in this system, the politics, whatever, I had to learn how to operate in a place that wasn't gonna frustrate me, because I'm not a fan of faulty systems. And so I got the notification and they had literally just started following me the day that we had this interaction. And I'm like, oh, okay, they unfollowed me. Let me go unfollow them.
Yeah.
They blocked me. And I'm like, I didn't even do anything to you. Like, you were in the wrong. But I'm like, whatever. Obviously, some people don't want to hear the truth. Somebody else, I had to go in on them. And this was on some personal stuff. Like, they weren't disrespectful to my daughter, but what they said to my daughter didn't need to be said to her. And I wish I could really tell the story, but I know the person it involves wouldn't want me to go all into it like that.
Yeah.
And so I came to them and I was like, hey, you kind of wrong for this. I'm coming to you as a mom. This is somebody that I had relationship with.
Yeah. Damn.
They read the message, because Facebook Messenger tells you
Facebook
if the people and they blocked me.
Wow, you a hot commodity out here.
I guess so, but it's like all I did was tell the truth. You wrong for that. Like,
when it comes to this this community, I'm super anti-community anyways. A lot of these podcast communities realistically just put themselves in a box. Like, it's all four of y'all just listening to each other. That's it.
Yeah.
No one else. I'm a huge proponent of, everybody that I've politicked with in this in this creative space. I've actually become like cool with, friends with. You know what I'm saying? When I show love, I show it because I genuinely believe in what you're doing. There's no politics behind how I move. So, when it comes to Spence and views, we're gonna be what we are, regardless of the people. I appreciate everybody who takes the time, to listen.
Right.
Because it's hard as hell to get somebody to listen to something you put out. That's the truth. But we gonna do what we do. And what you do is not going to dictate how I move. How you support is not going to dictate how I move. And that's what it is. I see all the bullshit. I see it. And I just be like, man, niggas corny, man. That's kind of how that's kind of how I look at it. The only thing I really don't like is when people steal content.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because so prior to podcasting, like I said, I write poetry, spoken word, blogs. So I'm a creator. This is just a different, like even creating the merchandise that I've created, that I'm just a person that needs to have a creative outlet. Sometimes it's I'll make up stories about scenarios to make it more entertaining, like not lying because people know what it is, but I like to have a creative outlet. And I've noticed, because I listen to a lot of different people, and I interact with a lot of different people because people like that I show love. So that I've noticed that's why I don't care about followers, because the reality is, if my followers were all my listeners, man, that would be hella dope. But it don't be like that. Y'all follow me.
I came into this creative space just as green as you are. And let me tell you, you would be surprised how many people buy their followers.
Wow.
That's why I don't even care about it no more. Especially, that's man,
crazy.
Y'all out here with thousands of you mean to tell me y'all out here with thousands of followers and not getting no feedback, no response, no nothing?
Wow.
No nothing.
I get a lot of retweets.
Just I don't get out here.
I don't get as many listens as my followers, but that's because I know people follow me because I retweet people's stuff. So it's like, and I don't mind because I don't mind supporting people, but here's the thing.
I'm talking about just naked. There is no way you should have 5,000 something followers.
Oh no.
And you just out here naked. Just know nothing.
Yeah, nah.
You know what I mean? So it took me a long time, man. The YouTube stuff, man, the social media stuff, man. A lot of these people are looking the part. That's it.
See,
you know, and that's more that's to my advantage because you know, I'm really out here trying to put something together. You know what I mean? Right now I'm trying to, you know, I'm in this space where I'm trying like to build like a network. But, you know, I already got what I got. You know what I'm saying? At this point, you know, I'm just trying to empower the women around me. So
I kind of see y'all with okay, let me get it right. Is sweatpants?
Oh, stress. Yeah.
Sweatpants.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm using my, you know, shout out to them because they fucking, you know.
Oh yeah,
they fucking on the tear. But it was like, you know, I'm using my voice and my influence to push stuff out there like that. Like we hear, you know, not saying like we just completely trash, but society hears a lot from black men already. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, you know, the way I was always, I grew up around all women. You know, my pops was in prison, and I grew up around all women, and the love I have for black women is beyond politics. So whatever I can do to help is what I'm gonna do. And so right now I'm trying to use, you know, the little bit of the little voice and a little influence I have to put people to put black women on, you know what I'm saying, up there.
Because I noticed you started saying like listen to like them, and then Chris with shenanigans with friends.
Chris. That's my dog right there.
Yeah, man. So
that's my dog.
I started noticing that, and I love to see anybody who is out here trying to genuinely like bring other people up with them, whatever little bit of. That's why I always do the podcast shout out every week. For you know what I'm saying, because it's like there's room for all of us. There's nobody that listens to just one podcast. Like nobody. Y'all show is like 10 hours long.
that's your Obama.
No, but y'all show is long, but I still have more. Long.
You know, that's strategic.
No. But wait, let me say why I say that.
Okay.
Because even your show is the only show that I listen to that's, you know, about 2 hours long.
About 2 hours.
Listen, but I still have 22 other hours in the day to listen to other people. So it's like nobody is listening to just one podcast. Nobody. So it's kind of like I came in, and you could tell when people are genuine, because if they're not genuine, they're not going to keep doing it. Like I have been consistently doing the same thing the whole time I've been podcasting.
Absolutely.
I'm always talking. This is my journal. I don't talk about anything that I'm not actually going through. And somebody actually came to me once, and they were like, they wanted to talk about something. And it's not that I didn't want them particularly on the show, because I actually, in my mind, have them as somebody that in the future I'd love to have on the show, but I don't know what to talk about with them. And it has to be something that I'm already on and I'm already feeling, and then I want to talk about it with you. But they came to me with a topic, and I just had to tell them straight up, like, you, and I know they listen. And I was like, my show is like a journal, and that's just not where I'm at right now. And they was like, okay, cool. Cause it's like, you can't do nothing but respect that. Now, I doubt they mad. They got their own show. But the whole point is, you could tell when people are not being like authentic. I could tell when, if I do an episode with certain people, who starts commenting on the promo, who starts doing all this stuff. But where was you last week when it was just me? You know what I mean? Like, I pay attention to all that, but hey, if you want to retweet this episode, go ahead. If you want to listen in because you want to see, well, how she get them on the show or whatever, then go ahead. But then I've heard where somebody had specific content, kind of going back to that was like specific to them. And then I listened to another show later that had content that is like, I know you heard that because I see you interact with them in the community. Like, and I just was like, wow. Like, that's wild.
It's you know, it's four of us, you know what I mean? I honestly don't know any given week what we're going to talk about. When we sit down, like, we have, like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, we have, like, we just knocked it down, but we had like 5 pages of content because it's 4 of us, and you know, we talk often. So we got like 5 pages of content, but I honestly do not know. I don't open up our notes until maybe an hour in. So usually what it is when I first got into this podcast game, because I was a fan of podcasts, you know, I listen often, and it took me about 3 years to even get the self-esteem to even say, okay, I'm gonna do this. So I was talking about it for about 3 years before I even said, okay, I'm gonna start building this. And you know, when you start paying attention to the landscape at that time, most podcasts was releasing once a week. Right? So in my mind, I said, okay, if I release once a week and my podcast is only 30 to 40 minutes, right? How do I fight through? One, how does my podcast remain out there? 2, how do I fight through those who are listening just to say they're listening, and those who are listening because they're into it and want to respond? So if you listen to, and this is just my thought process. Please don't, anybody who listening is proceed with caution. But my thought process was, if you listen to my show that's 40 minutes and you listen just to listen, while I appreciate that, how does it grow my business? Right? Now, if I put out 2 hours per week, if it's good enough, that gives you incentive to, one, there is something within that 2 hours that's going to hit you. is going to get you to the point to where you want to respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I build the feedback. 2, even if you don't, because at this time SoundCloud was the go-to.
Okay.
So at this 2 years ago, SoundCloud was the go-to. Everybody was on SoundCloud. So 2, it gives you incentive to go back and finish it, which equates to a listen for me.
Ah, okay.
So even if you, in 2 hours, you have to go back to the same show 7 times. At this time, this is SoundCloud analytics.
Yeah.
In a week, if it takes you 7 times to go back to a 2-hour show, that's 7 plays that you just gave me on one person. So if I'm, my thought process was, if I'm taking these analytics to somebody and be like, look, this is my reach. Even if it's fucking 10 people that's listening to my shit, if all 10 of y'all listening to my show 7 times, that's still 70 fucking plays. They don't care. They don't care about how many people. In realistic, they don't care about how many people are listening. What do your numbers look like? Because that's how the music industry works.
Yeah,
Everybody knows their numbers are getting played with. So that was what it was going into it, and I just stuck to it. I hear people saying, "Oh, they too long," and I just started getting them after 2 hours. At first, they was like 3. There was one I did a town hall, during everything that was going on with the country, and that was like 5 hours we sat there.
Wow.
And so we broke it up in 2, but that was just kind of the way I thought about things. And like I said, we always hear, it's too long, and this and that. But you one person, and I didn't get where I got listening to you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna continue doing what we doing, and you just continue to grow. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, if no one is going to believe in you if you don't believe in your own shit.
Right.
And if every time someone's saying something, you up jumping and changing stuff around.
Yep.
At some point, no one's going to believe in it, because it's like, well, he or she don't believe in their own shit.
Yep.
But continue doing what you're doing. Stay out the way. That's what I do. I stay out the way.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I don't act like I know it all, because I don't.
You're
still learning. What's going to work for you is not going to work for me.
Yeah.
But the things we can do is we can continue to network. You know what I'm saying? We continue to grow together, because there's room for everybody. We can continue to grow together, and we continue to support one another. Everything else, man, y'all can have that shit. I'm not in competition with nobody.
Right.
Hopefully you ain't in competition with me. And that's what it is. Yeah. Because now I'm pretty sure the powers that be have seen all of the infighting. I know, we're associated with this community in quotation marks. But the podcast landscape is a little bigger than that. And I think the powers that be have already started to pay attention. So that's why there are so many celebrities and rappers are now starting to take over this podcast landscape, because it's way more lucrative than we were led to believe. But the indie side, I think there's too many egos. So now I'm gonna put this celebrity in this position where now we can capitalize off of that. That's why you see the HBOs. If you notice, if you watch Lovecraft Country, after every episode, they're promoting a podcast about it. So now the HBOs, the Sonys, the Amazons, now everybody's trying to get into this podcast landscape, because it was very lucrative. And I feel like the indie side, although I'm new in it, I feel like the indie side missed. They dropped the ball because of ego. That's just my opinion. And we just went all with. I didn't win way left.
No,
I'm buzzed now. I'm sorry.
Nah, I mean, listen, I tell everybody that comes on, my listeners, man, you know how my show goes. I be on all kinds of bunny trails.
Look, 1 minute, I think one was I know you had one that was like a hour 40, and then the one with was it on the record? Off the record?
Off the record.
That was like 2 hours.
It wasn't no 2 hours.
It was like almost 2 hours.
It was almost 2 hours. Yeah, actually,
like, yeah. Because a lot of the times, when I listen, 90% of the day I'm listening to podcasts. The other 10% is music. And 90% of the day I'm listening to podcasts and I work. So when I pick this phone up, it's to respond to your show. So when I pick my phone up, it's to respond to your show. I don't like continuously picking up my phone to change shows because your shit 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the long ones. And that was before I even did it. I even got into it. I just appreciate the long one, especially if it's good.
And that's the thing. Like, and it's fun. Who was I just talking about this with? It might have been Autumn, and then we were just talking about just a bunch of different shows in general, because I was saying how I mainly listen to, like, when it comes to group podcasts, that's like, to me, a group podcast is 3, really like 4 or more members.
Okay.
Maybe 3, but it's definitely not 2 people. So I predominantly listen to male group podcasts because that's really what's out there, and honestly, until I'm gonna just say wifey and them, because I be mixing up they name their show. There was only one other group female podcast that was a regular in my rotation, and I love their show, and I'll like respond to their stuff on Twitter just like I do yours or whatever. But even though y'all show is 2 hours, and I joke only because I see other people joke about it, really I don't care, because y'all have
I don't be tripping. Yeah, look, you saying something about it.
You're right. But really though, I like y'all content. Like, you get into some things like I'm not gonna go there because I really don't like to. Okay, so this how I'm gonna just speak positively about y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I enjoy about y'all's is that it's long, but it flows well. It makes sense. An hour hasn't gone by, and I still don't understand like what's happened. Even the episode y'all just did where y'all started off with Breonna Taylor, and then
that's when they kind of they had to wake me up a little bit.
Went so far. Y'all went so far. But even with that, everything you talked about, it was engaging. You know what I mean? Like, as long as people have engaging content or something I can stick with, if it's long, it doesn't matter to me. And then the short ones usually are only like, so with my job, I listen all day, but now that we're working from home, sometimes I have video calls. So if I know, I only have 30 minutes until this video call, I have this thing where I like to finish a show. So when I sit down to listen to y'all show, I do it when I know you
have the time.
And I have it though, so it doesn't matter. But if I know, hey, I got a meeting in 30 minutes. Okay, I know this person has this 20-minute show, so I'm going to listen to that. So that's kind of how I do my stuff. But the reality is that when I started this, going back to what you said about sticking to what you're doing and not being moved in life, you can't be moved by other people.
This is a fact.
Like, podcasting for me is a reflection of my life, how I think, how I view things. So like us having this conversation, this is conversations I maybe have with Autumn, Chris, Jay, Audrey. We talk about this stuff a lot. Or the stuff with fears and stuff, this is stuff I just think about and want to talk to somebody about. And like, so everything I do on my podcast is really just a reflection of who I am as a person. Who I am as a person is I do what I want to do and I move how I want to move. And I'm not moved by what you think or what you say. Not even my mom. Now, my mom can advise me. My mom can do all that, but I'm not going to just completely change up something just because she feels some type of way about it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to podcasting, I remember the show I listened to, because I didn't really listen to podcasts before I started podcasting. I just mainly listened to maybe church sermons, but I didn't really know much about at all the indie podcast world that I found as a podcaster. But I listened to the show and it was like, find your niche and stick with it. Like, don't be swayed just because what's trending, because what, like, I know if I talked about sex a whole bunch, I'm sure a whole bunch more people will want to tune in to see what I have to say. But if it comes up naturally in a conversation, sure, because obviously I'm not opposed to it. And I'm not someone who can't have those conversations or doesn't have them, but to just talk about it just for the sake of talking about it because I want listeners. No, I don't. Like, I care about listeners, of course, because everybody wants to be heard if they out here making content, but I don't care about them enough to not be true to myself. Like, I don't do things with the mindset of, well, if I do this, I could be heard. No, I do this. I do this with the mindset of, this is what's on my mind and I got to process it and maybe somebody else can grow from it because really I'm just trying to grow. That's why we talk, like everything we talking about on this show, somebody is going to benefit in some way or another, whether they're a podcaster or not. And I try to keep that in mind too, because not only podcasters listen to me.
I think that's why, you know, a lot of this, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man, a lot of this shit, I ain't gonna do it because I might put people in the box, but a lot of this shit that I listen to come off as super, super corny because the majority of people are doing it thinking about the outcome. Like, if you're only talking to this because you think this is going to get you somewhere, I can hear it when you talk it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, I like to say, you know, when it comes to our show, I want to say that first hour is for us. We ain't seen each other. You know, we talk in like the group chat, but it's not really like, we're not sitting down. We're not in each other's faces. So the first hour is for like us. So that is, the first hour is always freestyle. I want to say, you know, people are familiar with the old school smooth groove. You know, sometimes, you know, it's unfortunate, but you know, we don't get structured until after that. And then that's when I'll get into the but I didn't really want to be in no what's the word, niche, because I wanted to fit my personality, and my personality is I'm very, very random. So
I want to argue that real quick though. Sorry. But then that's your niche, because the thing about because if you listen to my show, you see how random it is. Like it's all just, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Like that's, you know what I mean? It's not like your niche is just whatever it is you want it to be. So some people are sports.
That's what I was thinking about. That's what I was thinking about, you know. Some, you know, niche. When I'm thinking about niche, I'm thinking about like sports, sex, movies. You know what I'm saying? But
it's whatever your lane is. Just kind of like, don't be moved by the bull. Basically,
I was into, you know, I'm very random as a person, very random. So my thing was, I didn't want, aside from maybe the intro and the old school smooth groove, which, you know, is coming. I didn't want the rest of the show to be, you know, this is coming. You know, this is what we're going to talk about.
Right.
Like, each show is kind of different. You know, so sometimes we do have to be super serious, and then sometimes it's gonna be way to the left. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we gonna be joking and shit, and that's how I always want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of I'm not a fan of like the super serious conversation. Like, me and you are, like when we're talking now, we're being reflective, but it's not like a serious, deep conversation where we're digging.
Oh, no.
And I'm not a fan of those. You know what I mean? Like I think there was an episode with the homie BJ where like it was a bonus, and like I fucked around and like he got me into that space where the conversation me and you had.
Okay, yep.
He got me into that space, and I kind of like I broke down and shit. I've never listened to that. It was kind of like we put it out there, and I've never went back to it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so I enjoy the funny ones, because when it does get serious, I don't know where we're gonna go with it. And there's a lot of shit that right now I just don't want to.
And I think I heard you say on Baylor's show that's kind of like, it's like life is already what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like not like you want to escape it, because you really can't, but it's kind of like you don't want it to always be that's what you talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm very reflective. That's a great word I'm always reflecting on like whatever, but even in a serious episode, I'm always gonna laugh or something, because that's just like I laugh at everything. Like
yeah.
Me and my daughters, man, we like make sometimes jokes that other people might be like, what about their dad being gone? Like I'm not even going, but yeah, we don't like joke about the scenario, but we just make jokes in reference to it. But that's just how we are. And if I'm honest, if I didn't have a crazy sense of humor to where I could laugh at life and laugh at myself, man, listen, all the stuff that I've gone through, man, I'd done killed somebody or something, because laughing is my only way to escape sometimes. Like sometimes I just have to laugh and have to find humor in it, because so it's kind of like I can't be just serious all the time, and I don't like to. It's kind of why before I didn't realize it had been so long in between grief episodes, because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to talk about it, but then when I needed to talk about it, then I recorded an episode. But it's like I feel like people need to see the fun side of me more, and that's kind of where I'm trying to get into, just showing more of who I am. So it's not me forcing anything. It's like, this is who I am and this is what I do. So if y'all gonna be on this journey with me on this podcast, we're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, at this point, it's pretty known. Like my sense of humor is wild. Like, I can joke about the craziest shit, but that's just sometimes we do that to mask the pain. You know what I'm saying? I laugh it off, versus going into like an extreme like depression or some shit, because in reality, especially what we've gone through, no one can really tell me how to grieve, because the majority of people will never understand or experience what what I've been through, what we've been through. So when I walk into the room to record with the guys, like I said, life beats me up enough. So I don't want to come home or into that space and talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to get my ignorance off and going about my business. But sometimes there are times where it's needed. This week I think we got I'm actually I got a therapist and shit coming on. So
dope.
me and my boy Ivan, man, we got into like a little disagreement last week, and so I wanted to bring someone on. I believe I'm the only one that has been to therapy. And I close up. It's a defensive mechanism, but I do it so well, like I don't even notice it. It's a family habit. So I'm getting to this point now where I'm starting to talk about things, which is shocking to some because I'm very quiet, but I'm starting to talk about it. But my therapist told me, like, I close up so fast that when I do talk about things, it comes off as just like I experienced it and nothing else. So I'm getting to the point now where I can talk about it, but in a space to where I'm talking about it and acknowledging it at the same time. So a lot of people, when they talk about things, they are able to put an emotion to how they are feeling or how they felt at that time. I can't do that. Because I close off so fucking fast. So when I'm sitting in the chair and I'm telling him how I feel, I'm telling him from a point of like, okay, I experienced this. But I'm not acknowledging I felt that. So when I say, yeah, man, I went through this, but I went through this and this happened and this happened and this happened. But I don't say it's not I went through this. Damn, like I really went through this.
Wow.
And then before I even get to the point of putting an emotion to how I'm feeling, I've already thrown acknowledgement out the window. So if I don't acknowledge that this happened, how can I put an emotion to what happened? Because I close off so fucking fast. So I can, at this point, so me and him got into a little disagreement because he was like, well, if you're talking about it, why don't you heal? Why can't you heal? It is not that simple.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? I'm a proponent, like, this the quote, like, time heals all wounds, but I'm not sure of that. To me, time gave me the ability to adjust.
Yep.
But as far as healing, I don't see that ever happening.
I don't know that it's time that heals it. I don't think that's what it is. I'm not going to say I fully understand what heals stuff outside of, I don't know. Because like for me, my faith and stuff like that is a huge part of who I am. So
yeah,
I would say for me, man, there's so many things that I don't even talk about on this show that I've been through. Like,
this is a fact. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I keep it for the most part. I keep it surface level.
The girl's dad dying is a huge thing, but that was only 5 years ago. I've been through way more prior to that. Like I've just gone through a lot in life, but healing for me has looked many different ways.
Can I ask you, what was the month?
June.
Wow.
So June 29th. Because my birthday is June 27th.
I want to say we experienced these things 2 months apart from each other.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. But healing, I can't even say I've healed from that. What I could say with that is time goes on and I just learn how to cope differently.
Yeah.
And whatever. But things that I've gone through that have been deeper trauma than that, I can't even say I've really healed from it. It's like sometimes I forget to remember about it. So it's like you don't really forget, but you just sometimes don't focus on it.
Yeah.
You focus on different things, and then sometimes things just have a different effect on you.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like healing it's kind of like forgiveness. And I'm not going to say this is like verbatim and this is just what it is. This is just my opinion. But like with forgiveness, you have to continue to choose to forgive. Like with my bio dad, when what he's done to me flares back up and I'm in my feelings, in that moment, I have to make a choice. And it's not based on how I feel. It's a conscious decision that, you know what? Yes, he hurt me. Yes, how he treats me is trash, but I'm not going to let what he does affect how I feel about myself in this moment. I'm not going to let what he's choosing not to do have power over me. So it's a choice. Does that mean I feel any different? No, it just means I'm choosing not to succumb to those emotions and act off of it. I feel like healing is kind of similar to that. And it's like, even when I factor in God, sometimes I go to him with things over and over again.
Yeah.
And I have to keep going back to him over and over again. So it's like, this side of heaven, are we ever truly healed? I don't know.
See, my I know we off the deep end now.
I know,
but fuck it. So
here.
So I think a lot of the issues in my life is I was not raised to be intimate.
Me neither.
So my mom's side of the family is completely cold. So, you know, they say women are supposed to be like nurturing, loving. I didn't get none of that. My mom, my grandma, my aunts, everyone was completely cold because of, you know, I don't blame them anymore because of what they went through. My dad was in and out of prison for a lot of his life. So he even today, you know, he's still institutionalized. And my mom, growing up, my mom was still very young. She had me like 17. Okay. So, you know, she was young and she was going through things that I don't think she understand what was actually happening. And my mom was young. And we all grew up in like a house together because, you know, my grandma was like, you know, we used to have grandmas back in the day, like grandma. So we all grew up in the same house. We were all in the same house, but everybody was young. So here you go. You have Dante that's growing up, and I'm watching all of this shit. And so you have my grandma is super closed off. Mom's is wilding. My cousins is wilding out. You know, so there was a story, you know, and shout out to my parents, and I love them to death, but there was a story like they told me, my grandma passed away a couple months ago. And so I'm sitting in the house and you know, family just, you know, they're talking and they were like, my mom was like, she asked my dad, she was like, you remember that story? You remember when Dante came home and was drunk? And I'm like, what? And they were like, yeah, you were like 2. You were like running into the walls and everything. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean?
What?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like shit like that. When I was like, I want to say when I was 8 or 9, my cousin was like messing with somebody, and then her boyfriend came over, and then the dude that was in the house like shot him in front of my door. Right. Wow. So like I'm 32 and I can still vividly hear that scream. Like it's some shit that just don't leave you. You know what I'm saying? I want to say my 11th grade year, my best friend killed himself. Wow. There was a lot of like traumatic shit. Not even bringing up, you know, that situation. But there was a lot of traumatic shit that has gone on in my life that I never even talked about. So now I haven't even started to acknowledge the shit that happened that really traumatized me. So, you know, when me and him having this discussion and it's like, I'm at this point, he may not understand, but at this point, it's like I'm kind of being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being vulnerable on our platform, and you're throwing that healing word at me. That pisses me off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even, a lot of the times, especially on the show, because my family is so quiet, I'm the same way. So everything, I could tell you a lot and still be surface level with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you've never even walked in my shoes, let alone go through anything that I've ever been through. So who are you to tell me that I just need to heal? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so people don't take that. It's almost like when people pass away and someone hits you with God makes no mistakes. I feel the same way when people throw that healing in my face. And like you, I was born and raised in the church. So my godmom, my goddad were pastor and first lady. I still have a spiritual advisor to this day. But my grandmother weaponized it. So
are we about to go there? Because
it was like okay.
we could go there. Because listen,
look, we had to. Well, my grandma was like, okay, well, because my mom was a legit like primetime singer, right? So back in her day, she had got invited to Star Search.
Oh, okay.
It's a big show like Star Search or whatever it's called.
I remember.
And so my grandma was like, no, because you're not gonna be singing for the Lord, right? You don't know what could have got out of that. My grandma was like, no, and then she made us, the kids, like we learned how to play the piano. We were singing and shit, but we couldn't do it because we wanted to do it. It was like, we're going to do it. So one, you can do it in church, and two, it was like we trophies, like you showing the family off for the church type shit. So eventually, now we all get up in age. Now everybody's rebelling. So even for me, I can't use religion and God and Jesus as a outlet or something that I can look within, because I hate that too.
It's so interesting because, and I talk about this a lot in life, forget the podcast, but I've talked about it on here. The whole religion thing, that's why I was like, are we really about to go there? Because it, like, I love the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would call myself someone who loves God. I believe Jesus died for my sins, all that. Everybody has different views. That's cool. That's my views. And that's why I just say things like be spiritually healthy, because that's important, period. You know what I'm saying? But I struggle big time with like legalism, the whole weaponizing God and making it this thing of, well, you can't do this if it's not you're saying Jesus and God every other word, then it must not, like, that's just bull to me. And I just think that I feel you. It just makes me mad, because it's like, the reality is that a lot of people are turned away from God because of people misrepresenting him like that. You know what I'm saying? Making it about rules and all these things when it's really not that. That's not what drew you to God, or not you, but whoever to God. That's not why I rock with God, because we all gonna make mistakes all the time. And now I'm about to go here, even with everything, I'm gonna go here a little bit, but I'm gonna try not to go here too much.
I feel
even with everything that's going on with politics and all that stuff right now. And me and my daughters talk about this a lot, because it's kind of a double-edged sword how much access to the world my kids have through social media and the internet and stuff, because they see a lot, they can research a lot. So they are very opinionated about things that I didn't really have an opinion on at 16 and 18 and
even
we didn't younger.
We didn't
exactly.
see it. Yeah.
And the things me and my daughters talk about, like one of the big things is abortion, because that's like the big reason where people will vote based on, which I mean, I guess I get it, but this is where I struggle with politics and flawed systems, because you'll vote for somebody because they quote unquote say that a policy that you believe in is what they are for. But here's my whole issue with the abortion thing. Would I get an abortion? No. Have I gotten an abortion in life? Yes, I was, and I was forced to get one at an age that I really wasn't an age to make that decision.
Yeah.
But do I think that because God says life is important, do I think that a law should be created to say that somebody has to do something because of a law? No. Why do I not believe that? Because that's not even how a relationship with God works. We're not forced to do things with him. We have free will. We choose to do this and that. And I believe that I struggle, and I can't even believe I'm going here, but I guess we here. I struggle with Christians who think that a law should be created to make people who don't believe the same things that they believe be forced to do something because it lines up with the Bible. That's not how God works. You know what I mean? Like, I struggle with that, and I could be dead wrong, and me and God could talk about that when I'm dying or I'm dead, but nobody, that just doesn't set well, because it's like, where is the free will in that? Where is, like, you have a choice to decide, am I going to do this? I'm going to do that. And am I going to do this? And I'm going to do that. I get an abortion now? No. But also, then again, who's to say, like, if there was health, I don't know. I can't really say what I would do when I'm not in that situation.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. Oh,
I ain't gonna lie, man. I shout out to shout out to the workforce. You know what I'm saying? Y'all paid for y'all paid for, you know what I'm saying? Y'all paid for a few of them things. But I think, man, when it comes, you know, just to people like to put an agenda. People have an agenda for everything, and people like to weaponize whatever they can.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, shit. Yeah, we went out. Shit.
Yeah. We way
as, you know,
we way
people,
out here.
You know, I'm for, you know, you go after. We all have different paths. You know what I'm saying? But the end goal is peace.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we all want. I'm not talking about like world peace. I'm talking about internal peace. So whatever way you can get there is how you can, you know, how you get there. But everything that I was brought up to like look for peace in, I rebel against it. Because that was just, you know, those were my experiences. I had to, you know what I mean? Like, I had to get up literally every day and read the Bible for about 2 hours.
Wow.
And then she would quiz us on it.
Oh my goodness.
And then after we were quizzed on it, we had church, we had Sunday school, we had whatever you could think of. And then we would go out of town and go to all the church conventions, and it was the real deal. It was for real. Yeah, once I got to a point to make decisions on my own, I rebelled against it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like a life. That's religion. That's love. You know, all the things that you can look for peace in, it was kind of like, you know? And so now I get older, and now I'm bringing all of that I learned into like relationships and parenting. That's when it's like, dog, you gotta unlearn all that shit.
So I guess we'll go here. So where do you find peace now?
Silence. Like alone time. silence, music, eating, shit like that. But I've really, as I'm getting older, like I think alone time is like so slept on. So many people, even when you're in a relationship, like so many people don't know how to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need that, just be alone in your thoughts for a little minute. Another thing I learned, going to therapy is, there are going to be a lot of things that I'm going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do feel them, make sure I feel all of it. So even if that means I gotta cry, I gotta yell, I gotta cuss a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, you way too deep in my business right now of like things I need to hear. Like,
yeah, when you feel it, just make sure you feel it. Not like, oh, it's here and I'm trying to get away from it. Like, make sure you feel all that shit. Just don't stay in that space. Going back to what we talked about earlier.
See, when you were talking about people not growing up cold and nurturing and all that, and it's funny because when I had a conversation with Baylor and Mike, one of the things Baylor said is about how moms are so nurturing and this, that, and the other. And that's not how my grandma is. That's not how my mom is. And that's not how I am.
Fact.
And like, I didn't grow up like, and so now that I'm 40 and now that I feel a lot of things very deeply, I struggle with that because it's too much. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like crying and I don't.
I feel you.
Yeah, if I feel like I'm going to cry, I'll stuff it. I stuff a lot of stuff so I don't have to feel it. I'm a very reflective person and I'm a very self-aware, but I don't let myself fully feel even joy. You know what I mean? I just try to be chill and like too much of anything is just too much and it's too overwhelming. But I'm realizing how unhealthy that is. You know
sometimes when it comes to, like when you say, when it comes to joy, when it comes to fun, when it comes to love, I don't know how to handle it because it's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? What makes me worthy of this? You know what I mean? So when when someone finally came around who kind of like stuck with me, it was almost like, you gotta be bullshit. You know what I'm saying? What? A solid woman coming around me? Nah. What makes me worthy of that? And at times, a lot of the times even now, I get into these moods where I try to sabotage it because I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to deal with it. I only know how to deal with chaos. I know how to deal with chaos, but I don't know how to be happy in some shit that's solid.
See, and this is so funny because this goes back to fears, and I wasn't even gonna say this. This is a fear of mine, but I wasn't gonna say it. But since somehow we're way over here in this space of my life, so like I was married, and it wasn't a healthy marriage. We were together for probably about almost 5 years before we got married. I don't even know why we got married, but whatever. And it's the girl's dad. So my ex-husband, that's who was killed. It was very unhealthy. I'm talking, there was violence. Like, it was just all bad. And then we divorced in 2007, and I haven't had a relationship since then. I've had situationships and I've had all that stuff. And one of my biggest fears, like, I'm content single. So like, I'm not one of them people that I need a man, obviously, because I haven't had one. But one of my biggest fears is that will be my only experience at quote unquote love. Like that I will never have that where like, cause okay, I know you have your ups and downs in life. So my fear is that I'm never going to have my person that's going to go through all of that with me and love me. I mean, I don't know if anybody could truly love you unconditionally, because there are some conditions in love, but like a solid person, like that's my fear, is that I'm never going to have that my only experience at love is going to be that. And then like with my son's dad, because I've only had actually 2 relationships in my life.
Yeah.
My son's dad, we got together towards the end of my senior year. And then we were together for like till I was 19 or 20 is when I broke up. And then from 20 to 27, I was with my ex-husband. And then that's it. And I didn't even know what love was back then.
Yeah, I wasn't a big relationship person either. But you know, growing up, the only relationships I seen was, you know, when my dad got out of prison, him and my mom had like a real like chaotic, you know, relationship. I didn't see my grandma with a man until she was in her late 60s. So, you know, I thought in order to, you know, be in like a solid relationship, in order to love, it had to be chaotic. Like it couldn't just be you know, on no peaceful shit. I got married when I was in my early 20s, when I didn't know what I was doing. So thankfully, you know, that was on like some Kardashian shit. Like, you know, that shit only lasted like 3 hours. But it was enough of a lesson to be like, this ain't no shit to be played with. You know what I mean? So, man, all we can do is, man, you know, especially you and I, man, take things one day at a time. And continue to, you know, grow and evolve. Shit, that's all we can do. Any other pressure, shit, that shit gonna break me.
Yeah. I think that's good advice to the listeners. I think we have dropped so many gems throughout this that, man, it's been over
I'm
2
looking
hours.
I'm looking. I was like, damn, hold on.
I can't even. But man, it's like
wild. With 2 people, that's crazy.
Yeah, because I've literally never had an episode this long ever. But I kind of, like I said, I picked my people intentionally, so I knew, but I didn't know that you was gonna get that deep in my business.
Like, you know, like I said, a lot of people, you know, this is I appreciate this as well, because, you know, like I said, I have been on this little journey, man. You know, I'm reflecting, I'm getting myself, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with therapy, but I'm gonna get back into it. Especially now, with the different, I want to say the evolution I've had over time. But this was cool, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people like to, you know, it's my crazy, like outlandish, like opinions and shit that people want to hear about, you know? So, you know, this was real life me, you know? So I appreciate that, man. I really do.
Yeah,
I ain't feel it coming. This ain't no Halloween shit.
Yeah, at all. Like this went way somewhere, but it's good though, because I needed all of it. You know what I mean? Like there's some stuff that I'm like, dang, and it's funny because I've been debating on getting back into therapy.
Yeah.
Just because this is a therapeutic outlet, yes, but there are some things that I think I need to process with someone who actually has more. Like, I have a lot of knowledge in psychology because that's what I studied in school. So my bachelor's degree is in psychology.
Oh, okay. Talk your shit.
But I like to, you know, throw that out there. Let them know I'm educated out here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nah, but so I have a lot of knowledge, but I think I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff that is unhealthy within me, and I'm seeing a lot, like, really how toxic I am, and it's not like intentionally, you know what I'm saying, but it's just like, why are you like that? And even just being cold and not being nurturing, when reality is women were created to be more nurturing, but that's not me. Like, I'm I think that's soft, and that's not healthy that I think that's soft. Like, and it's funny because that's why I've always been the type of person that mainly has homeboys and talks to dudes and not on no bull, you know what I mean? Just to get the male perspective. And then I have my small group of homegirls, but it's not like super emotional or just people like that, because that makes me nauseous. And is that healthy? No, you know what I mean? Yeah. So this was way more therapeutic for me than I thought it would be. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you taking the time, because you said you don't do this often. So
I don't. This is my since I've been doing this, my third guest appearances, and the first two has been within the last, I want to say, month.
Wow.
So I don't do this too often, but shout out to you and Baylor.
Yeah, because I know Baylor was the other one, because I heard that episode. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you tell the people where they could find you and all that good stuff, and then I'll do the rest of my little end of the show stuff.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Just Call Me Spence. Every Thursday at Views from the 7 drops an episode. Mm-hmm. Get what you're gonna get. You take what you want.
Man,
that's it.
Yep. And I'll have all his links in the episode notes. So weekly podcast shout out this week is gonna be Blood and Firewater podcast. It's a true crime podcast. I haven't ever listened to them, but they're in a retweet group that I'm in, so we support each other. So you should definitely check them out. I'm gonna go ahead and put their link in the episode notes. Man, get y'all some merch. I keep saying this, like, this all kinds of designs to either inspire you, encourage you, help you promote your craft or whatever. So go ahead and check me out with that. It's coffee cups, dog hoodies, canvases, pillows. It's a whole bunch of stuff on there. As you could tell from this whole episode, it is very important to take care of your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. I'm not even going to belabor that, because we done had all types of sermons up in this episode. And I definitely appreciate y'all listening, especially if you still hear we might have to call this Views from Spence or something, this long old episode.
As long as a month.
But I definitely appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying, tuning in, and I hope y'all come back next week.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for